Having a North Node in 12th house is frankly, I think, one of the most challenging North Nodes to have. And so in this video, I want to break down what it means to have your North Node in each sign and additionally in the 12th house. So if you discovered you have a North Node in 12th house in Gemini or a North Node in 12th house and in Cancer, watch this video because I made it for you. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabelle, your spiritual rebel friend, and today I want to talk about the North Node in 12th house through the signs, giving a quick little overview, hopefully going more in depth and giving you guys a lot of information about what it means to have your North Node in 12th house and in each sign. Because this is a very, I think, challenging placement to have. Your growth is quite literally to do deep inner work, to heal your trauma, to break your subconscious patterns, to be aware of your unconscious mind, which is really, really hard and something that a lot of people do, you know, when we get into self-growth. But for those with the North Node in 12th house, it probably feels extra challenging. It's probably really easy for you to want to turn things into habit and focus on the material reality. And I've recently been getting a lot of comments on my YouTube channel about what does it mean to have your North Node in Gemini or North Node in Cancer in 12th house. And so I wanted to cover that in this video and go through each sign, probably starting off with Gemini and Cancer, since those are the two most recent comments I got talking about the North Node 12th house placement. Now, before I dive in, I want to let you guys know first and foremost that I have officially launched my astrology course, the Master Astrologer, which I'm so excited about because a lot of people, you guys have been saying, wonderful subscribers, that you want to learn astrology more. You want to be a master astrologer. You guys are all trying to learn and understand your charts and maybe even be able to use it to plan your life a little more, to feel like you have the reins on life rather than feeling controlled by life. And so I made this course for you guys so you can master astrology. There's a ton of modules, a ton of lessons. We dive deep into all the planets, zodiac signs, transits, how to overlay charts, made to help you be a master astrologer. So if you want to be your own astrologer, become an astrologer for someone else, or want to feel more clarity or control over your life, I made this course for you. It is launched, it is ready to go. I will put a card up top with the video to learn more about the astrology course. It is available now, also in the link in the description below. So enroll yourself now. I'm so excited about it. Cannot wait to see you guys in there. Join now. Also, of course, if you want to learn more about your chart and you have no idea about your chart, or you want to dive deeper into what it means to have your North Node in 12th house in a certain sign, as well as how this plays out in the rest of your chart and your life, then book a reading in the link in the description below, where we dive deep in 1 hour into your unique personality type combination, including not only your birth chart, but also your Enneagram, numerology, and more. Link is in the description below. Back to the video. Let's first quickly recap what is the North Node. The North Node is our highest path to growth in this lifetime. It is a point in your chart symbolized by kind of like a horseshoe symbol, I think of it as, or a rainbow. And it tells you what is the most uncomfortable thing for you to do, but can help you grow the most. And it's not even simply just your growth, but it helps you elevate your consciousness. Whatever sign and house your North Node resides in is the area of life that is most uncomfortable for you to tap into with a certain vibration. The sign it's in indicates what archetype of the zodiac wheel is most hard for you to embrace in that said area of life. And by doing so, you open up your parameters. You expand your energetic field because you're learning something that you've never learned before, or at least in this lifetime is hardest for you to do. Opposite of the North Node is the South Node, which is said to be our past life karma and our stress, so to say. I think of these oftentimes like the Enneagram stress and growth. I'm getting notifications on my phone and I don't want to be distracted, so I'm going to try to turn those off. And so the South Node is our overused gifts and talents. It can serve us in life, but we may find that we feel spiritually comfortable or physically comfortable. We may find that we're not manifesting very well. The North Node helps us manifest because as we elevate our frequency, expand our vibration, the universe rewards us. And so, for those with a, 12th house North Node, from my view, is you are here to learn to tap into your unconscious. always the North and South Node are opposing each other. So if you have a North Node in 12th house, your South Node by default is in 6th house. If your North Node is in Gemini or in Cancer, your South Node is going to be in Sagittarius or Capricorn. And so with a South Node in 6th house, you tend to focus on building your routines. You're very much someone who probably is on top of their habits, likes to have, in a way, a 9 to 5, or even just a job you routinely show up to. You focus on your physical health fairly well. You're probably very hyper vigilant of your physical health and notice when you feel off. Taking care of your physical health is probably something you have to learn and focus on a lot. But the simplest way to put it is the South Node 6th house, North Node 12th house may be a bit superficial at times because they see the material reality so well, they've mastered that, they forget that there's a whole world within. And so for these people, not only do they have to focus more on the unconscious, but they may find the more they break their unconscious patterns and go within, focus on their internal environment, the more they rapidly manifest. It's not so much about the action for them in manifesting. It's about learning to shift their mentality and shift their vibration by going within, focusing on their inner world. The 12th house is the house of the unconscious. It's our unconscious fears, unconscious desires, our subconscious programming, our unconscious traumas. These are the things that are deeply ingrained in us, our hardwired software, so to say, that has created who we are. I think, honestly, for those who have, in my interpretation, a 12th house North Node, really benefit from knowing their Enneagram type, which I talk about in my readings, which you can book below. And anytime I've worked with someone who has a 12th house North Node, it's been really big for them to focus on just having a practical way to go about understanding their unconscious. Because to say, go into your unconscious, discover your unconscious mind is mind-boggling. Like, what does that even mean? So knowing your Enneagram is something that really helps. Now, how you go into your subconscious mind as a North Node in 12th house changes based off of the sign it's in, because there are different things that you need to heal lying in your unconscious, and it can give you direction on what exactly is there, what exactly may be your unconscious pattern, so to say. Generally, whatever sign our 12th house is in general can indicates what unconscious patterns we may repeat the most. For example, someone with a 12th house Aries may have to deal with a lot of unconscious programs, unconscious patterns around aggression and independence, what triggers those things. So whatever sign your 12th house North Node is in will tell you what may be specifically in your unconscious. It gives you direction on what kind of to look for, because stepping into your unconscious can feel like you're in a dark cave and you don't know what to point the flashlight at, nor do you understand what you're seeing because you don't have much reference point. So what does it mean to have your 12th house through each sign? Hopefully I don't forget any as I'm saying these, because every time I do recently a list going through all the zodiac signs, I've missed one at least. I did it for the Jupiter through the signs, and I missed Leo last time. I did it for the new moon in Gemini, and I skipped over Virgo, I think, or Capricorn. Sorry, I'm trying. There's a lot to remember. And I do want to note that these are my personal interpretations. Astrology, while we like to think of it as objective because there's 12 zodiac signs that are very much archetypes, this is all subjective interpretation. There's so many different ways this can be interpreted. So this is kind of just my personal take on this. So if your 12th house North Node is in Gemini, you probably have a lot of unconscious patterns around stimulus. You may need to notice that you're not as curious as you could be with your mind, and then you may be fleeing in some ways, especially with the 6th house South Node in general. You're someone who has focuses a lot on external patterns that you may not notice you have mental dis-ease. Gemini is the archetype of curiosity, and so you may overdo Sagittarius. It's opposite, feeling like you're going for big ideas, and instead you probably just need to focus on one practical step. So I think knowing your Enneagram as a North Node in Gemini 12th house is actually extremely important, because you can go, what is my Enneagram? What is one programming or belief this type has? Now, where can I find that in me? Recalling memories, observing your response to everyday life and how those are all rooted in subconscious patterns is probably your growth. If you're a North Node 12th house in Cancer, noticing your beliefs around being nurtured and how you don't deserve that, because in a sense, how it always works for the 12th house North Node is observing your unconscious patterns and beliefs that have made you in your South Node. So opposite of Cancer is Capricorn. What are your beliefs that you don't deserve to be nurtured, that you don't deserve to be cared for, that you must be the protector? Cancer is the archetype of the mother, so you may have to do a lot of mother wound healing as well in your unconscious. If your North Node is in Leo, in 12th house, what are your beliefs around being in the spotlight? About being the center of attention, about being courageous. You may feel like you have to be more detached, more less individual, or more individualistic, more appreciative of other people's individuality, but you enjoying life is not important. So how can you focus on that? It may require a lot of courage for you to go into your subconscious mind, because Leo is the archetype of courage. So have the courage to face your unconscious fears. If your North Node is in Virgo in 12th house, you have a bit of a paradox placement, because naturally Virgo is the 6th house. And for this person, as I've worked with them before in the past, you have a lot of probably unconscious beliefs about your inner critic, and you need to be able to face these unconscious beliefs and criticisms, and maybe even avoidant patterns where you go into just spatial harmony and actually do the nitty-gritty work. For you, it's similar to Gemini. You have to start doing the work. Just do the thing. Sit down, meditate. I see it being in Virgo, as the North Node being in Virgo in 12th house, as you have to do practical self-growth work, whereas some signs don't have to do necessarily as much. I think for these people, truly meditating is really important. If you have your North Node in 12th house in Libra, then you probably have a lot of extremist tendencies in your day-to-day life, and trying to build a more basically balanced chemistry, neurochemistry in your brain is your growth. You may feel like you have a lot of basically triggers in your life that make you go towards intense tendencies, flighty tendencies, and you have to go and observe your mind and notice what is causing mental dis-ease and how you can be more mentally balanced. For you, you may truly feel like there's a chemical imbalance in your brain, and you're here to rebalance it, because this is Libra, the archetype of balance, and this is your unconscious mind. If your North Node is in 12th house in Scorpio, you're diving deep into your mind. You have to face your deepest fears. This is, I think, where people think of stereotypically having a transcendental experience, going on an ayahuasca trip. In a way, I'm not saying you have to go on an ayahuasca trip, really, but it kind of those themes where you're going really deep into your psyche. You're going as hard and deep as possible. And by doing so, you're having a closer connection to yourself. By going into your unconscious, by observing your programmings, by addressing your belief systems, you'll feel closer to yourself and have a deeper experience of life. It might not be that anything has to change in your life other than your relationship with yourself. If your North Node is in 12th house in Sagittarius, you probably tend to be, again, superficial with data rather than thinking about your personal experience. So I think for these people, really looking into what was my life experience, how did that create my beliefs, and how did that create who I am today is really important. You may think a lot of the data about self-growth often, seeing that, oh yeah, well, everyone has trauma in some degree. You may be focused on the information of self-growth rather than your personal experience. So getting in touch with your personal experience and who you are and how that's created your thought patterns is your growth. If your North Node is in Capricorn and in 12th house, I feel like for you, it's basically being goal-driven in your self-development approach, being focused on how can I better my mind. You know, the brain is basically a series of highways of thought, and you want to basically, for your North Node, step into how can I better these highways? What are the better highways to create? What are the better thought patterns? How can I be more disciplined with myself to be better rather than being soft? You may feel that a lot of your thought patterns are focused on the feeling of needing to be nurtured or not nurtured enough because your South Node is Cancer. If your North Node is in 12th house and in Aquarius, you probably have, in a way, a bit of a tendency towards focusing on fun in your day-to-day life. And similar to the North Node in 12th house in Libra, forming a more neutral, detached thought patterns are going to be your growth. You may feel like In a way, it's almost, I feel like for this North Node, there's this feeling of abstinence, a fulfillment from having less of a dopamine rush in your day-to-day life. And simply put, maybe even in another interpretation, helping other people break their thought patterns and be better, elevating humanity basically by addressing your own thought patterns and inspiring them by sharing your story. So you could be going deep into your mind as a North Node Aquarius 12th house, recognizing your beliefs, sharing those beliefs, and by doing so, helping other people. If your North Node is in 12th house in Pisces, you have a double whammy, I like to call it, where Pisces is in its home sign. And so you have to have a very transcendental, non-linear approach to tapping into your unconscious. You're probably very practical, and to just go within your mind and discover your mind and roam your mind, so to say, feels intangible and unnecessary. Why would I do that? There's no value. But there is a value towards becoming in touch and familiar and comfortable in your inner environment. And I know that probably as a South Node in Virgo, 6th house sounds non-linear, but contemplate that for a bit, because I think that's the simplest way to say what the North Node in 6th house or 12th house Pisces is becoming comfortable and enjoying your inner world. If your North Node is in 12th house in Aries, you probably have a lot of passive tendencies, and you need to be recognize your beliefs that keep you from being assertive, and also being bold with your approach towards facing your unconscious fears. In a way, you may feel like aggression in the sense of like an inner dialogue is something unfamiliar for you, such as, you know, push harder, do the work, you got it, like let's go a little further. And for you, that is your growth in my interpretation. The North Node in 12th house in Aries may also have a lot to do with healing relationships with aggression and recultivating assertion, not only with yourself but with others, and recognizing your unconscious thought patterns around aggression and independence. And finally, if your North Node is in 12th house in Taurus, you are here to go into your unconscious brain to build your self-worth and sense of comfort in life. You may find you have a lot of unconscious, or you may have a lot of discomfort in your day-to-day life, and you can't really root why. You feel this flightiness, so to say, or this ick, so to say, I guess. And by going into your unconscious mind, discovering your beliefs, you'll build more self-worth and comfort in life, and build just simply your worthiness. I feel like anytime there's some North Node in Taurus, there is a focus on building your sense of self-worth. So that was a lot of information, but let me know your combination of your North Node in 12th house and the house sign it's in the comments below. What are you experiencing for your growth? What are you struggling with? How is your South Node playing into this? Because I am curious to hear more about that, especially because I really do feel like for the 12th house North Node, the South Node really does come into place for the sense of knowing what beliefs you tend to overdo, or what are the ingrained beliefs that have basically created who you are and how you live your life. So what is your habitual way of living life? What are you discovering in the self-development process? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you're struggling with, and I'll be sure to offer any advice I can below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed, and if this was overwhelming for you, be sure to book a reading in the link in the description below, where we can dive deep into your North Node and South Node, as well as the rest of your chart and the rest of your personality combination. These readings aren't meant to just throw a bunch of data at you. They're meant to be implemented and focus on how you can use this information to grow and live the life you desire, even if you don't know what that is. So book in the link in the description below. And while you're down there, be sure to check out my Master Astrologer course. If you are someone who wants to be your own astrologer, understand the stars on a deeper level, whether you're a beginner or someone who's been into astrology for a long time, this course was designed for you. It covers everything you need to know to gain a deep knowledge of the stars so that you can use it to feel like you have more direction in life. For me, astrology has provided me a sense of direction. I still use the new and full moons, the transits, to help me figure out what I should focus on, because life can be very overwhelming, and it is very overwhelming for me. And astrology helps me keep things simple. So if all that sounds good to you, if you want to be an astrologer, if you want more control over your life and clarity over your direction and purpose, this course is for you. Learn to be your own astrologer in the link in the description below. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos. Once again, my name is Isabelle, and from my heart to yours, namaste.